quite in time, but
Hi,
I'm
can you
okay.
hear me?
Oh, I can't see you. Looks like you got something covering your camera, but I can
Um,
hear you.
y- yeah, that's okay. I mean, I can hear you as long as you can hear me.
I
Might
can
have a couple questions later.
if you wanted to stop your video. That's not a problem. I can just hit the stop video if you'd rather not share your face. That's okay. I understand that. All right.
Yeah,
I am, let me just quickly say hello to the audience. I did just send out a reminder to let people know we were here. So let me go ahead and spotlight myself. All right, welcome everyone. We are streaming live on YouTube, and I have a couple of amazing people here with me on Zoom. If you are seeing this on YouTube and you want to be here live with me, then you can go to aprilcox.com/events. So I am April Cox, the founder of Little Labradoodle Publishing, self-publishing advocate, and wearer of many self-publishing hats. So I am opening up my time for free for anyone who is new to self-publishing and just has some questions and needs some answers. I'm here to hold hands, answer some questions, and I'll be here with you for an hour. And then we'll disconnect at 9 o'clock and I'll move forward with my mastermind group. So I'm going to encourage you, if you have not followed me on YouTube, please take a moment to go ahead and go to Self-Publishing Made Simple YouTube channel and follow me there, because you'll get notifications and special information that I post in the community. And you'll know when we're doing something live or a special event that we're streaming. So that's one. And if you would like to, if you have a question you'd like me to answer, I am monitoring the YouTube as well as I've got people here that are going to ask some questions and we'll answer things through here. So without further ado, the topic, I usually start with a topic. So, what's going on and maybe recent questions that came up for me. I want to just talk through, I had an author that I met with maybe a week or so ago, and she had like, I don't know, 12 or 14 different books. And she had gone through the lion's share of things herself with cover design, going through and putting some things together. And she was coming to me for a coaching session saying, are you able to help me just publish them on Amazon? And so, as I always do, I kind of, trying to drag out some information to make sure she didn't skip any steps. And so the topic that I want to talk about is quality and how important it is to have a high quality book, whether you're doing children's books or whether you're doing a novel. There are some key things that it's very hard to be successful in publishing if you are not taking care of these things. There's one caveat. If your book is just for yourself, maybe you're writing a story that you want to leave behind for your children, and you're not really trying to sell it on Amazon or get it out anywhere else except for yourself and your family, getting it into print. So that's a totally different scenario than the one that I was working through with this woman. And I asked her to show me, and we talked through some of the things. And I always ask first, have you had a edit on the book? And the answer was no. I don't do professional editing. I believe that I just want to preserve my own voice. And when other editors get involved, evidently she had a bad experience with an editor, and it left a bad taste in her mouth. So she had books, but did not want to work with an editor. And when I looked at some of the, information she was sharing with me over Zoom, I could tell it really needed polish. There were misspellings or run on, definitely could have benefited. And so number one, I would always say is you have to have a professional edit. And there are different types of editors out there. One mistake that's common that I see is individuals saying, by getting an editor, and this happened to me when I was new. I knew that I had to have a professional edit, and I was happy to do that. But what I did is I went and found somebody on Fiverr, and that person was a proofreader. So they didn't do developmental editing. They, in other words, like polishing the story and looking at the big picture story, the flow, the way that, the arc of the story kind of goes up and down. So as a result, I paid a very small price, and it really wasn't edited. I mean, the editing, even though I checked off the box, I did editing, it was not the right kind of editor. So it's really important for all of us to know to start with a developmental edit. And yes, there are additional things that happen, like line and copy editing, looking at, periods and punctuation and spelling, and looking at the paragraph level and sentence level, like that comes later. And you also should do that, by the way. A developmental editor may catch some things, but that's not their focus typically. It's about the construction of your book and the overall big picture for you. And then really, the last part of editing before you're ready to go live with publishing is a proofread. So make sure you understand. I just want to make sure people understand that there is more than one type of editor, and make sure that you don't skip a developmental edit and that you do go through that process of other things. And if you happen to be joining me here on Zoom, if you're in a noisy climate or whatever, just go ahead and mute yourself. And you can always take yourself off of mute when you are back and you have a question. Okay, or just raise your hand or whatever. All right, so the other thing that came up when I was talking to this woman, doing a coaching session with her, we looked at her cover, and the cover design was very, let's just say not professional, right? It looked self-published. And that is one of the most important things to catch attention when you're trying to sell your book on Amazon or get somebody, a librarian or a bookstore, to bring it into their store. If it doesn't have a good first impression with a great cover, they're not even going to consider moving things forward. So my recommendation to her was to stop and slow down to go fast so that we could put a better, higher quality version of her book together as her debut, and then roll them out one at a time. So unfortunately, she said, I like the covers the way they are. I want to move forward with the editing. I did not edit, don't want to. I just want to get these published. But she was also sharing that she really wanted sales. So I had to, have a hard conversation with her and say, I don't think we're aligned, and I don't want to be, I can't help you do this. If my heart is telling me this isn't the right decision and you're putting forward a less than high quality book, that's not what I do, and that's not what I'm about. And I had to say goodbye to a customer that could have been, someone I would have worked with, but there was just no alignment there. So I just want to start with that little story to say, are you putting out high quality books? What is a high quality book, and what kinds of things when you're reading strike you as, oh, that's weird. I wouldn't buy a book if it had that or this, right? So we can talk a little bit about that, and we can answer some questions, maybe look at some books out there on Amazon. And if you're brave and you want to give me a link to your book, we could jump in and just do a little assessment. I promise I'll be kind, but I'll always be honest with you. So we can absolutely talk about book quality and what that is consisting of. And I thought that would be a good way to start today. And of course, I am opening it up to your questions as well. But before we move off of the topic of quality, does anybody have any questions or comments about that?
I just, can you hear me, April?
I can. Hello there.
Hi. I just wanted to say, there's a gal that I think is in the committee with you called Bobby Hinman, Hinmi.
Oh, yes, yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think she does both, because I have paid her in the past to do copy editing for me, and she also did some line editing. So if I'm wrong, correct me, but I think Bobby Hinman will do both. And she's an excellent resource.
Yes, she is absolutely. So Bobby Hinman is my #1 go-to editor for picture books. So she does a package that includes comprehensive editing, which means that she does the developmental. And then when that's done, she goes to copy and line editing. And then she also does proofreading. She also will proofread and help you with your book blurb, your description on Amazon. And if you have a press kit which I always do, she will also edit that for you. And all of that's included in her package. So if you have a picture book and you don't have an editor that you absolutely love, and she's also a rhyming expert. So she's my go-to, and I'm happy to put her contact info if anybody needs it, but absolutely. And then I have, in my vast network, I do have a number of others who will edit, longer form, maybe chapter books, middle grade, adult novels, nonfiction, things like that. So Bobby is really dedicated to picture books. She doesn't do anything longer than a picture book. But yes, and thank you for bringing that up. She is a fabulous resource.
Right. So she copy edited my recent book, which is called Rhonda's Amazing Feat. It's in rhyme and meter. So if you're looking for something to critique covers and so forth, I'm open to that. And I have broad shoulders, so you can say anything you want, and I will not be offended.
So it is on Amazon already?
Yes, it is. I have 3 on Amazon. Rhonda's Amazing Feat. I have another one called Orangutan's Rainforest Adventure.
Okay, hold on. Let's get to Rhonda. How are you spelling Rhonda?
The newest one, but it's up. It's up and ready to go.
Rhonda's Amazing Feat. Okay, I see it. I'm bringing it up, and I'll share my screen, and we can all help by providing some feedback, constructive criticism, and kindness always.
But I don't mind criticism. I'm open to whatever somebody wants to say.
Okay, so here we are with Rhonda's Amazing Feat. So I will pretend that I'm doing an evaluation, which I do for, offer that is just evaluating the listing and seeing if there's anything that needs to be improved on it. Or so let's look at this listing. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing, let's always start with I'll start with the title and subtitle. Series information would also show up here. So one thing I like Rhonda's Amazing Feat are like, it makes me curious, like, oh, what's that about? So a suggestion is that you should have a subtitle. The reason is that helps people understand what the book is about, adds context, but it also gives you some really important keywords, because if you have a keyword in your subtitle, let's just say it's social emotional learning, or it's maybe this book is about, it's
body image.
It's about body image. So wouldn't it be great if your subtitle had the words body image in it?
Okay.
Children's picture book about accepting yourself and body image, something like that. Like, it doesn't have to be really fancy, but then you have children's book in there, you have picture book in there. And because when Amazon sees the keywords that people are searching for in your subtitle, it will rank you higher than somebody that just has them as keywords in their metadata.
Is that too long if you said children's picture book about positive body image, or should you just say positive body image?
I would definitely not worry about adding, as long as it flows nicely, it's okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
And I would definitely recommend a subtitle. And if it's part of a series, then also the series title, because that also goes in parentheses up here. If you had a subtitle, it would have the title, the subtitle, and then in parentheses, the series name.
Okay.
So series names are also a beautiful place to put keywords, because it's still going to show up there. And it's an important thing where Amazon indexes on title and subtitle and series. So those things are important. Next, I'm looking at your beautiful cover. And I know you are an author illustrator. I love your work. Did you illustrate this cover as well?
I did, and the inside as well.
It's gorgeous. So I love Rhonda. The you know, you can see the clunky feet, and you know, so Rhonda's amazing feet kind of go along. And if this is about body image, you couldn't have picked a better character, I don't think. So it's great. The one thing that you know, just my humble opinion is that the title is a little bit small. I would have liked to maybe reorganize the cover a little bit, maybe make her a little smaller so that you can make the cover. I typically say like a third or a fourth of the page should be dedicated to a very big cover, because when it comes up as a thumbnail, if it's hard to read or see, and then it makes it it just doesn't make it stand out as well. So that's a minor issue for this, because you can still read it.
But April, are you allowed to do that? Like, say, for example, I could do that quite easily in Photoshop. Put Rhonda's on the top in bigger letters and amazing feed under it, and make it all bigger.
Yeah.
But the hardcover books have already been printed like this. Is that false advertising?
No, it's not false advertising. But you can also change the thumbnail. For example, if you want to keep this for your print books and you just want to have like the thumbnail show up a little bit differently, there's also a magical thing I can do using my Advantage account where I could upload a different thumbnail that would print, that wouldn't, you know, it would print like this, but the thumbnail might have a slightly different design just to capture the attention when people are scrolling. So all I would need is the updated JPEG on the front cover. Or like I said, you can do it yourself. You can upload a different thumbnail to your ebook front cover. And that too can serve, but you can also redesign. If the book came in like this and I saw the cover slightly different, I wouldn't probably even remember like, oh, that looks like a different book, because your Rhino is so beautifully, that's the memorable thing on the cover most people are going to think about.
Okay.
So that's that. I think your author name, you know, I would probably make a big deal, and I'd move it over here and put written and illustrated by, because I think that's a big deal. You should take credit for, and maybe make it a little easier to see. So to me, that's just, you know, very minor. And so before I move on from that, does anybody have any feedback on or any comments on those two things, the cover and the title and subtitle?
Subtitle. You're talking about it being on the website, not the subtitle on a book.
Correct.
Okay, and that can be 2 or 3 sentences, or?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't make it 2 or 3 sentences, but let's do something just so that we can see. If we go to Amazon and we are looking for a book on body positivity, what kinds of things would you search for, Debbie?
On, I don't know.
Maybe self-esteem.
Yeah, self-esteem,
Right.
definitely.
Children's book about self-esteem, or children's book about, let's try even body positivity. Body positivity. I don't know how many people search on that, but let me move this over. So if we look, we're going to see bodies are cool. Her body can, right? So if you look at some of these titles, here's a good example. Gratitude is my superpower, colon. So this is the subtitle. A children's book about giving thanks and practicing positivity. So this came up because the word positivity in my search, and children's book. So it's got both children's book and positivity in their title subtitle. And they're also advertising for similar words. So, you know, something this size is fine. A children's book about blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't want 2 or 3 sentences, but you can also see in parentheses, my superpower books. That's the title. That's the name of the series. So you can get an awful lot of information just looking at this. Okay.
Do you
And
have to have a minimum of 3 books for a series, or can you have 2?
you can have one.
Oh,
If
really?
it's the first in a series, you can absolutely have one book. And I was just looking at the performance of like this kind of keyword phrase. It's telling me it's not very popular. It's got potential, but there are, it's yellow for potential and it's green for competition. So what I normally do is if I'm looking for a subtitle, I will actually do the keyword analysis. So children's book about self-esteem. Let's see if
Well,
that.
positivity is kind of a strange word. Maybe it'd be better just to say a children's book about positive body image.
Oh, I like that.
A lot of people,
Oh, and somebody else is suggesting a good one. They say helping kids love themselves. I like that. That's nice too. You also want to make sure, like, so I will research the things I'm considering to see if I can get, a popular phrase. Popular meaning it is often searched. Potential means that the books that are indexed for that term have are getting a lot of revenue. And then competition means there's not too many people still using or competing with you for that term. So obviously what I like to do is find a green keyword, long tail keyword, and then use that as my keyword phrase because I know it's popular. It's going to get me a lot of like organic type of sales that I don't have to pay for. Of course, you still should run ads, but this tool that I use here is called KDSpy, and it's one of my favorite tools for evaluating these kinds of things like keywords and the potential of a word and coming up with the right ones. About, let me just say, children's book about loving yourself.
that the lady, whoever it was that just suggested a children's book about learning to love yourself, that is exactly what the story is about. Rhonda
Okay.
to love herself in the end. So that's a good suggestion if I can get bites.
Yeah, so this kind of stuff I would evaluate. And like I said, looking at what other books are in that same basic competitive market, your sub niche. And even you may get ideas just kind of scrolling through what kind of keywords keep coming up in their subtitles or maybe in reviews. If people are always talking about like I didn't even know what SEO was, social emotional learning, when I first started seeing that term everywhere. And so looking at how people are describing their books, your competitors, and which ones are getting all the attention and what are they using? You can learn an awful lot using that. So I just wanted to bring that up as well. And we'll go back into here. So that's great. Now I want to just quickly move over to your pricing. So hardcover $18.95, that's perfectly fine. Paperback, it might even be a little bit low. Like I would usually I've been doing like $13.99 for paperback because of all the price raises, and $18.95 for a hardcover. I would probably put $19.95 or $19.99, whatever. So these things are usually are a little bit low. So it could be great for getting started, but you have room to go up if you want to, in order to also have a little bit of extra royalty in order to apply to things like marketing efforts.
I have to look to make sure that on the hardcover book, I can't because the price is on the back. So I can only go lower. The price is on the barcode.
Okay.
Paperback, I don't know if it is or not. I'll look. If it's not on it, I can jack up.
Yeah. And you can also, you can update the cover for your print on demand versions. You can update the cover because, retail prices go up and down, and you can just make sure that your price on the back of the book for your print on demand ones is matches whatever your new price would be. So that's one thing. With the other thing, for a good listing, I would love to do something so that like this has a lot of bold. And when everything is bold, kind of, it's almost, it doesn't make me want to read it. So I would probably bold a hook at the top, like say a hook like you know, would you love your child? Would you like does your child have a positive body image? Question mark. I'd be like, oh, this is about body image. I need to see this, right? So something that will capture your target audience and really hold them. And so they can like know that this is a book they should read more about. So a hook up top bolded is great. And then a description that's inviting for your target audience. So you have, who knew having big flat feet could be so cool? Meet Rhonda, a klutzy rhino with major foot envy. She wants dainty, graceful feet like her rainforest pals. Join her hilarious adventures with funny, whimsical illustrations, a feel-good tale, and a big surprise that shows how special her feet can be. It's a laugh-out-loud journey to self-acceptance and positive body image. I like your short blurb. I think it says everything that it needs to. I would probably, like I said, I would have a hook, some white space, and take the rest of this description and give it another line feed in there so that it kind of gives you something that doesn't seem so intimidating to look at.
Okay.
That's all. But you've got a really great description. The book sounds absolutely wonderful, like something I would want to grab for my grandkids. And I'm also seeing from the publisher content, that's A+ content. So that's another thing that I always recommend. As I'm looking at this, there's a couple of pieces of advice I could give you. So normally from the publisher information, I like to help with creating a brand image or reinforcing your brand image. So a nice header that maybe has the name of your publishing company with a nice 3D look of the cover. And I can give you some examples to look at, but that's really nice way to kind of start with, like, who are you? And then here you have a lot of images with a lot of writing, and you're telling the story, which is something that I usually recommend, that you don't tell the story as much as you just tell the value of the book. Like maybe showing, self-esteem, you can talk about maybe, and I like the ones with 3. So I usually do like 1, I'm going to go to, let's see, what can I look at? A Little Labradoodle Christmas. I'll just show you Labradoodle Christmas. This is the last book that I did this prior Christmas. Oh, let me say book. Little Labradoodle Christmas book. I guess there's a lot of Labradoodle Christmas stuff. Okay. So we'll just pull it up over here. And I have some nice A+ content that was put together for me. So here you can see the hook. Are you looking for a holiday tale that will bring smiles and inspire your child to spread kindness? So it kind of gives, and then, gives more separation. I probably could shorten the hook so that it's not quite so much bold. But if I go down to the A+ content, have yourself a little Labradoodle Christmas. So it's just kind of the brand, the little Labradoodle, taking, some things I certainly could have done better with that header. And then a little information. So a nice big image of, say, your favorite spread.
Oh, good point.
And talk about what's special about it. So this is gorgeously illustrated, rhyming picture book is sure to brighten the holidays, even for the grumpiest of us. And it's got this grumpy old cat here, and they're being kind, trying to get the cat to think about, a Christmas story with a bah humbug cat.
What did it gorgeously illustrated, and what was the other thing?
Rhyming
picture book. Okay, there I am.
So it's kind of a summary, right? Of like, just to give people, it's again, another little bit of information, but I'm telling people why they should buy it. For dog and cat lovers. And then I grab an illustration. And if you use the 3 module, then you've got more here that you can, more room. The images are bigger. So the module with 3 is 300 by 300 size.
Right.
instead of the 4, which is 250 by 250, and it's a little bit cluttered. So
Right.
here, for dog and cat lovers, it's empathy and the spirit of giving. Like, these are important things that are helpful for people to know, but I'm not telling my story.
Right.
Traditions and bonding. So we talk about that. And just a little slight information, and then maybe another image that you really love. And I loved this little cat, and they're trying to get him to love the family traditions that they do, because they think that's going to make him. And yes, they are also keywords. And when you do use the A+ content, you have the ability for every image you add, there's a keyword, there's hidden keywords you can put in to your A+ content, and those are indexed by Amazon. So
Oh,
don't use,
I
yeah.
like the idea of having different size pictures now.
Yeah.
Now
So
I'm,
it's like a nice flow.
Yeah.
And then I always, at the end, because I am building a brand, I put this module here, which is your comparison module. And it's now shoppable. So people can actually just add multiple things from your catalog to the books as well. And they can see how many reviews it has, what the prices are. And you can also, like, you can add as many comparison things that you want about it. Like maybe these are different age groups. I could put age group, and then I could put the number of what these, are different age groups. I just put topic. Overcoming insecurity and self-acceptance is the focus of the first book. Anti-bullying and inclusion is my second one. Accepting and embracing change is my third. Fun for kids, and then adults coloring book as well. So you can add up to 6 books. I only have 5 here that I advertise for this one, but you can have 6 other books there, and you have a beautiful list of other books. So why not give them that opportunity to really get the full benefit?
Can I say, now this would be a little bit of a fib, but can I say I have a series called Rainforest? Even though when I wrote a book about an orangutan, and then I wrote this one, they're both in the rainforest, but I didn't think at the time I was writing that they were in a series.
It could be something, using the word animals, because you use animals to tell stories.
So you could say that after the fact, even though when you first wrote them, you weren't thinking series.
That's right. That's what happened with me too. They kind of came together as important things I wanted to teach my grandkids and leave messages I wanted to leave behind for them.
Okay.
And it turned into a series. So hopefully it's not just them benefiting from the work, that there's, others are actually getting great information and social. And it was more about building resilience and leaving a piece of myself and wisdom behind for them in a very fun way.
Okay, great. All right.
So I hope that is helpful. So A+ content for sure. You definitely want to utilize that, because you have the ability to do it yourself, right, in KDP now. And so you can add your items to your own KDP title. If you want to also add it to titles like your hardcover, if it was on Ingram Spark, for example, you can't do it yourself unless you have an Advantage account, but I can do it for you, or one of my designers can do it for you and put it in from my Advantage account. It can allow you to do things outside of KDP and make sure that all of your various titles have the A+ content connected.
I do have an Advantage account, what do you call it? Advantage account.
Then just, you can put
there's nothing in it. There's no books in it. It's an empty account. I had my books in it, but then when I got a distributor, they asked me to take the books out so I wouldn't be competing.
Yeah. So you can, as long as they haven't turned off your account, you can use that you'll have to re-upload all the same A+ content that you have in your KDP. But when you put the ASIN, which belongs to your hardcover, and then publish it, it will show up on your hardcover, where right here, you probably don't have anything on the hardcover for A+, right?
I don't think I do, no.
Yeah, because if you don't, so it doesn't let you, but now your Advantage account can be used for that.
But then of course, now I'm doing what they asked me not to do. They didn't order me not to do, but the publisher said, I'm not, the distributor said, we would like you to take those books out of Amazon Advantage.
But that's okay, because you're not adding books to it. You're just going in and setting up A+ content, which is fine.
Okay, so then if somebody goes to buy that hardcover book, are they going to be buying it from me or from the distributor? They have a vendor central account.
Yeah, they're buying it from the distributor.
I would hope,
Yep.
because I want to compete with them.
Yep.
Oh,
So it's not about adding anything for sale. It's just that there's features on Advantage that you won't have on KDP.
okay. Well, in the interest of not wasting time with these other people listening, I will talk to you about that in our mentoring session, which is coming up in the future.
Perfect. Yeah, I was glad to see your name on my calendar. That was great.
Right.
So I think this is you've got some great ideas here. You've done a good job yourself, so don't feel down about it. But there are some definite improvements you can make here.
Well, you've got some fabulous ideas, and I'm writing like crazy on my little notebook here. And
Good.
what I do to this book, when we get together later in a session, I want to do to all three of my books.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the services that I do offer. If you just want, a one-on-one session to kind of go through and evaluate things, or you need help setting things up and making sure that your keywords are the best they can be and that you're selecting the right categories, that's a great case for a coaching session. And so, yeah, thank you for utilizing that. I love being involved in these things. And you can always drop in and ask for a review of something here together. Anybody else have any feedback for with regard to Rhonda's amazing feat that we want to share as well?
The illustrations are wonderful.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
They jump right off the page, and a nice color palette and nice texture to them.
Oh, thank you for that. But I think I'm going to get more benefit out of having one big one and three small ones rather than all the same size.
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful.
But thank you for saying that. That's the fun part for me, more so than writing.
Yeah, and Kelly also mentioned she can't take herself off mute right now because she's got little ones, but she said that you could do a better font choice for your title on the front cover.
Okay.
So having a graphic design, because illustrations and the creativity that requires what you do, there's not many people that can do it. And it's very rare to have an illustrator who also has like an eye for font pairings and design stuff, right? So I would, and Kelly, by the way, is a graphic designer. So if you want to connect with Kelly in the chat, I'm sure she would be happy to chat with you. And she also does a open Q&A session around design and things like that. It's every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So she'll be here. It's next week, right? Not this week, Kelly. I think that's right. So as of next Wednesday at 9 p.m., she has a session for design, and I'm sure this would be a great case study to see if she can help you find a better font pair.
Okay. What's Kelly's last name?
Lima. Lima.
Okay, great.
Alle, Lima. You'll see her comments in the chat.
I chose that font because it's dyslexic. The letters are weighted at the bottom.
Okay, I see.
But doesn't necessarily mean I can't switch just for the cover. The inside font is dyslexic. The letters are thicker at the bottom, so you have less of a tendency to flip them over.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to open up to others who may have something that you either want to ask let's open it up for questions first, and then we'll jump back in and do another review, and you guys can help me critique another book. Kelly, I see you put a link there for me. Thank you. So we'll use that after we have a little bit of Q&A here. Does anybody have a question that you would like to talk about? Let's see. Did I get anything in the chat? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I had put a question in the chat about illustrators. does anybody use a formatter? I don't know. To me, that seems like it would be the hardest thing to do online
Yes,
with
yes.
self-publishing.
So, kind of going back to our initial discussion where I said, quality is really important, and that's kind of part of the essence of what I want to talk about today. My musts and things that I always say for a quality book is definitely go with a professional edit. I like beautiful illustrations, so having an illustrator that can create beautiful things. If it's an illustrated book, a picture book, the pictures are going to tell a big part of that story. And then so the designer, I use the word designer, some people say formatter, but they will take your words that are finalized with your editor and then your illustrations that come from your illustrator and create that final beautiful look and feel of what that final picture looks like. And the outcome of working with a formatter is they're going to export the files that you then need to send to your printer, upload to KDP, upload to Ingram Spark. Those, it's very difficult and it's convoluted. If you don't have experience in that area, I'd say don't try it yourself. Okay.
Okay, but then I don't know. Okay.
So tell me about your book and where you are in the process. I'm happy to answer more for you if you'd like.
My book, it's already written. I've rewritten it and it's going to be the final draft. I've put it in front of 2 different writing groups and they seem to really like it. The one guy said, hurry up and publish it. I want to buy it for my grandkids.
It's a picture book, is that right?
It's a picture book. It's just about a little girl. I know like social, emotional learning is real big, but I just remember liking stories, just liking to hear a story and read.
Yeah.
So I just wrote about a little girl who she's having trouble finding something to get for her mother's birthday. And so she goes outside and she's thinking of this and she's trying to do this and that. And then just by sheer luck, she comes across something in a field, flowers, and she gathers them and basically it's just kind of like she gives them to her mother as a gift. And it's just like a mother-daughter love kind of story.
Oh, that's nice. And it's a great time of year to have those kind of stories come to light and to finish, it's good for Mother's Day and Grandparents'
I didn't
Day.
give away too much.
Yeah. But that's great. So one of the things, if you are interested in getting some help with the self-publishing process, because there's a lot of stuff that new authors skip. And I know a lot myself and others have kind of gotten to the point where they're online, they're on YouTube, they're trying to get all the steps. And even the experts don't kind of agree on how to do stuff. So I'm happy if you want to, I'll put a link there if you want to do a free consult and just talk specifically about your book. And I've got my new work group, which I am very excited about. I do a 12-week work group twice a year, and it's kicking off in June. So it's a perfect time of year if you wanted to walk through with me and a small group of other authors the self-publishing process together. So there's a lot more information I can share. If anyone is interested or thinks they might be a good fit for that, that's also a conversation we can have in our one-on-one.
Yeah, I'd like to do a consultation with you. And yeah, there's still I feel like an idiot because I feel like I should know some of this stuff because, well, I published a traditional book. It was a nonfiction book, but I just started with children's books. And I feel like I should know something about self-publishing, but it's kind of like I just have so many questions like, okay, so you got your illustrations and you got everything ready. And then what do? Just go to KDP and I don't know. It's just, I've even thought of going like with a hybrid publisher because I thought, let them do it.
Yeah,
I don't know what they charge, but I want to keep my rights, so that's my main thing.
we can definitely have more discussions around that. I am a big advocate for self-publishing, but I also do provide services where I do it for you. And hybrid publishers, you have to be a little careful because
Yeah, I've heard.
you're paying for your editing and your illustrations and all that stuff, but
Mhm.
they're taking a piece of your, some, not all, but the majority of the ones that I know of, they're going to take a piece of your royalties. They're going to
Right.
setting things up on their Amazon account. And then they get paid when sales happen, and then you have to trust them to pay you. And so many hybrid publishers go out of business. And I can't tell you how many authors that I've dug out of those situations where they're like, my publisher went out of business. They're still listing my book. They're still getting the sales and the royalties. They won't receive calls. So my approach is really to everything that should be set up in your own account, your own ISBNs in a Boker account, your own KDP account where all of the books are. And then if anything ever happens, you have full control over everything. You're the one that helps decide what illustrator to pick with some help and some steps that I would go through. And when it comes time to setting the book up and other things, it's a choice. How much do you want to learn so that you can do this yourself? Or I had one author I met with just before this session that said, I don't want to know how to do KDP. I don't want to know how to do, I don't want to have to communicate with the illustrator. I just want you to take it and go with it. And so I'm happy to do that for people. And through coaching and other things, I'm like, okay, here's the storyboard. Let's go through that together. So yes, you're going to have contact, but you can have as much or as little control as you want, but you get to make the decision. You get to keep 100% of your own royalties. And you get to make the decisions about your illustrator and the quality of what you're doing. So on the bad side, you have to pay for those things, right? You're paying for a high quality illustrator, and for, it might be a few $1,000s to get really good high quality illustrations.
Right. Yeah.
That's something that you have to pay for. But if you go to a hybrid, you're going to be paying for that anyway, or they'll give you a package that says it's all inclusive. And when you compare it to what you would pay yourself, it's similar or maybe even paying less. And then you're keeping all of the royalties.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'll definitely be in touch. Thank you.
Don't give away your power. That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't want to. That's why I was.
I have another author who I've been working with for 6 months now, and we've published a couple of books. But before finding our program, she published through a company I won't name, which is a hybrid publisher. And she said, okay, I'm doing a second release of this book. I would like you to now take off the listing from the first one because she's not getting paid. It's all going to them. But she wants to disconnect from this publisher. And they said, sorry, if you look in your contract, it says that we have rights to the book in perpetuity.
Yeah.
They won't take it
Yeah,
off.
I know. You have to be careful.
It's just so tricky. So as part of what I've done in helping other authors and for my own sanity, I've created contracts that are my own, and all of my illustrators that are on my preferred list, they use my contract. I don't put them on my list if they don't. And I've gone through and pre-negotiated special pricing for my people. And, I try to take a lot of the guesswork out of things. And when when a project goes south, I'm all my IT brain, my continuous improvement focus is like, okay, why did that happen? What happened? How can I make sure it never happens again so we can fix it? So that's kind of the benefits of going through the 12-week program, is because it's fed to all of the information is done in a way that walks you through growing and learning for those that really want to. to learn how to do this themselves. And my sole goal is that in the end of that 12 weeks, or, you know, you feel like, hey, I'm confident I can go back and do this myself for book 2 or book 3. And I'll be there if you need me. But my goal is that you have the ability to be self-sufficient and not require the assistance of somebody else as you're working through your books if you don't want them. So you've got this though. And it sounds like a great story. So yeah, I put the link to set up a session with me if you'd like a free consult. I'll also post that.
Yeah, I
link.
got it.
I'll post the link here on YouTube as well, in case anybody there would like to do that. So I've got a few people here on YouTube. Hi, Gordon. Gordon says, proofreading is my biggest weakness. Yeah, you need fresh eyes. I feel like sometimes our brain puts things in that, you know, fills in gaps that we don't even pick up on. One trick that I had someone tell me is instead of proofreading with their eyes, they proofread with their ears by opening up a document like on the computer and just having it read the words. And yeah, it's, you know, it's a robotic sounding voice that reads it, but in Word and others, it'll just read the words, and then it immediately jumps out if it sounds funny or skipped something. So that's another like self-editing trick you can do. So try that and see if that works for you. Kirk had a question here. I was thinking about doing a Kickstarter for my next picture book. Do you think Trump's tariffs will affect books printed in China? What do you think are some other options? So what a great question. Kickstarter is a wonderful opportunity to get your book funded and raise the money if you're publishing. I've got some folks who, Sarah Catherine Frey is one who has done a couple of Kickstarters, and both of her Kickstarters, she's raised well over 10,000, some over 20,000 to create the book instead of, or to do a nice large print run in order to raise the money to get those high quality books. So the one thing I'll take this a little bit further. Just realize that Kickstarter is a platform that they give you the opportunity to put your book out there, but you do need to bring your own backers. There are some that will find you on Kickstarter, but the lion's share of the people who will purchase or pre-order a book on your Kickstarter campaign are going to be people that you have marketed to, family, friends, you know, Facebook groups, however you get the word out, social media. It is not, you know, it's not something that you can expect to just put out there. So just make sure you plan on bringing an audience with you and seeing if you really do have a good enough audience to be able to use Kickstarter. My first time, I put a project out there. I thought we did a great job with the marketing and the illustrations and everything, but I didn't have a big enough platform. So it didn't fund. And so it was a little disheartening. I still moved forward and funded the project myself and got the book done. But I learned my lesson that if you don't have enough people and you're trying to raise, you know, $5,000 or $10,000, if the average person, say, backs your project for $50, how many people do you need to get the funding? So think about that. Do you have enough in your network? How will you get them if you don't? So
I have heard a rule of thumb that the dollars that you're asking for, 1/10 of the dollars should be the people. Like, for example, if you want $6,000 from Kickstarter, then you need to have 600 solid people, either on they're following you on Facebook, or you have an email list or something like that. If you want $9,000, you need to have 900 people.
right.
That's the rule of thumb.
Yeah. So, I mean, so it's more like if you feel like, whoa, I'm nowhere near that, nor do I feel comfortable marketing and trying to drive people, then maybe Kickstarter is not for you. But let's get back to Kirk's question. Do I think Trump's tariffs will affect books printed? I would have said yes yesterday, but then I've been seeing things floating around saying that books may be exempt. Now, I don't know if they are going to be, and I think that your guess is as good as mine, where Trump's going to go next with tariffs, whether they're going to be on or off, or, you know, what's going to be in, what's going to be exempt. So the other alternative that I would be planning for is printing within the US. You can still, you will still have prices go up for printing, even for those companies in the US, because they purchase their paper and they purchase their boards for the hardcover, that the hardcover gets used. So the paper and the boards are expensive and they are imported. They're not made within the US. So that does affect pricing. However, the individual that I use, I'm going to post her name, Jenabeth Ortiz. And I'll put her email address, jenabeth.ortiz@jostens.com. And she has been able to do some amazing things for my authors. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. Sorry, my phone. Okay. So she's been able to do some amazing things for my authors. One author was actually able to get her book down to just over $3 for her book. Printed within the US and, you know, turned around very quickly. So if anybody can get you a quote and really beat the prices out there, it would be Jenabeth. So she's my go-to for a print partner. And I just posted her information there. And that's what I would do. But I would definitely plan on raised prices, because I think that's going to happen regardless because of the tariffs or fear of the tariffs. I feel like some people are raising the prices because they can, not because they're impacted by the tariffs, but they're like, oh, well, tariffs are coming. We might as well start raising the prices. Everything's going to go up. And I wonder if they're going to come back down even when the tariffs go away. It's just one of those things that I think is capitalism, but it's also very frustrating for us authors trying to pay for the production of our books. Okay. I see a hand from Pat. Go ahead, Pat. Tell me, what's your question today?
It's a question about covers.
Okay.
If I wanted to change the cover on my books that are already printed, to change the cover to add a subtitle and to change the price, a barcode, you know, this would be print on demand, Ingram Spark and KDP. Does that require a new ISBN?
It does not. No.
Okay.
The only
Thank
time it would require a new ISBN is if you were creating a new revision of your book that changed your book significantly on the interior. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah, so you're good there. And if you need a great graphic design resource, Kelly Lima is still here with us. You can check in with Kelly, and I'm sure she can turn that around very quickly for you, those kind of little tweaks.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
How hard is it to change a barcode?
Not hard at all. Yeah. And whatever you do, don't pay for barcodes through Boker. There's a site where you can generate your own barcode for free. So if you, I'll put the name of the website for, it's called Bookow, BOOKOW.com. And that site, you can just put your ISBN number, you can put the price that you want printed on the barcode, and that site will generate your barcode for you. So you don't have to pay $25 or $35 to Boker or to anybody else to generate you a new barcode. Okay. We are getting, it is the top of the hour. Does anybody have a burning question that you're like bummed because I didn't get to you? Because I'm happy to do one more if you would like to chat. Go ahead, John.
Quick question regarding copyrights. Can you just go to the copyright.gov and do $65? Or
Yes.
Boker has this copyright now thing for, I don't know, gazillion dollars, but
yeah, go directly to copyright.gov. And it's another one of those things where buy your ISBNs from Boker, yes,
yeah.
But don't just opt out of those upsells that they're going to try to do for copyright or you know, trademark, you'll see some places that are trying to get you to do trademarks with them, or I think they even now started talking about website stuff. And but yeah, you don't need any of that. All you need is the ISBNs. And
Right.
then you go to copyright.gov, and I have a step-by-step video that walks you through everything of how step-by-step, not sped up, but like one at a time. It might be an hour-long video or 40 minutes or something, but it takes you through the whole process step-by-step. So you can even pull up one of my videos. And that's usually, you know, I do a lot of that, like how to set up KDP, how to set up Ingram. So if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel, there's a lot of really good step-by-step stuff that will help you with that.
Thank you. The caveat to that is, do you need a separate copyright for the text and for the illustrations that are two separate copyrights?
So great question. I do them separately, but not because I need to. It's because I am a little bit anal about when I get through my words and my editor is completely finished. It's, you know, my illustrations might not be done for 2 months. And I don't want to wait 2 months and do it all in one fell swoop. So I will immediately do my copyright of my verbiage, the manuscript itself. And then when my illustrations are done, since I own them due to a work for hire contract, they're mine, I'm the copyright owner, I will do a second one. So I will pay an extra $65 for my peace of mind. And I'm happy to do that because I don't want to wait around. Or if somebody else says, you know, your story is just like mine, and you know, mine has been out for this long, and you know, I've got a copyright date as like, hey, this is when I have copyright done. If it's, I don't know, it's just a peace of mind thing that I want the copyright as soon as it is available. That's one of the first things I do after the editing is complete.
Understood. Thank you. I'm going to, I can't say enough wonderful things about Bobby Hinman, about Genebeth. The pricing is amazing. If everybody's looking, they should look there. And Pathway also is another referral from you. Thank you for that. I'll get you my book. It's all the illustration dust jackets ready to go. I want your eyes on it, and I'll sign up for one of the hours we talked about previously.
Full. So yeah, grab a consult if you haven't had a chance to, and we can walk through it and kind of talk about the next steps.
Great. Thank you very much.
Awesome. So I'm going to disconnect from folks. Go ahead. You
were fantastic. I did the 90-day thing, and you saved my bacon so much. It was wonderful. Everybody should do it. Really.
You're talking about the upcoming author group?
Yes, your author group. That was fantastic.
Good. So I got a great recommendation. I love having word of mouth. But yes, I mean, I care about the fact that you guys are going to have some high quality stuff. And I've done a lot of work. I'm a bit of an IT geek, so I've done a lot of work to make it as easy as possible for you so that you're not taken advantage of and you get a high quality product at a really great value. So yeah, I'd love to have you go to the website. If you're thinking, hey, I really want to see what happens with this work group, what it's all about. I'm just going to put my website address. It's selfpubmadesimple.com. And you will be able to see the author work group that's coming up, the author accelerator. So go to my website and check it out. And if you have questions, then you'll see the button there to set up a call. It'll take you to that free consult as well. So it might not be a great fit for you. Some people, when I talk to them, I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is perfect for you, but I think this person over here or that program over there might be better. And I'll absolutely give you great references and referrals for people that you can count on, whether it's me or someone else. All right. So I'm going to disconnect from YouTube. Thank you for being here. And for those of you that are on my mastermind, hang on with me and we will continue for the second hour together, and we can get into some more detailed things, more book reviews or Amazon ad questions, whatever you have in mind. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Come back.
Thank you.